Hello, and thank you for coming to my little channel today. So today we have a very exciting video, as always. Today's video is a recreation of the Hawthorne Grill from the really popular movie Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino. And yeah, so this is really exciting. I've been trying to find something to do for a recreation recently because I like to do the recreation videos, but sometimes it can be hard to find ideas based off of, movies and TV shows and stuff. But I looked at a list of the most popular movies of all time or whatever, and this was like number 2 or something. So at first I wasn't sure what to pick from it, but eventually I picked The Diner, and I feel like it came out pretty well. Little disclaimer though, I am not a super fan of either Quentin Tarantino or Pulp Fiction. I've seen it once, and it's been a while since I've seen it. I have also seen, of Tarantino's films, I've also seen Kill Bill and Django Unchained. That being said, I am not a huge fan of his movies, and I don't know, maybe someone's gonna say I'm, need to broaden my horizons or something, I don't know. But the whole, really bloody stuff and, all that, it kind of turns me off. And, the whole drama, it's totally the style. I get that that's why people like it. I'm not saying it's bad or whatever. If you like it, watch what you like or whatever. But it kind of turns me off a little bit, just personally. But that being said, I first saw Kill Bill, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or something, a long time ago. And when I saw that, I was like, what the heck is this movie? I thought it was the stupidest movie I'd ever seen. But then I feel like as I got a little bit older, and you kind of just have to be okay with the fact that it's a bit weird, then I liked it more, if that makes sense. Because then when I saw Django, which it's a long story, but that and Pulp Fiction, I liked it a little bit more because I feel like sometimes for me, you have to just be okay with the fact that the movie's weird, and kind of bizarre, And the other time that I've experienced that was with different Monty Python movies. My boyfriend really likes Monty Python, and he first wanted me to watch when we were in high school or something. And we saw Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and the first time I saw it, I was like, what the heck is this? It was so weird and silly and whatnot. But then I feel like I watched it again, years later, and in Life of Brian as well. And the second time I watched it, I just kind of let myself be okay with the fact that it was weird and silly. And then I liked it. So for me, I feel like I kind of have to just be okay with that, and then I noticed that I like the movies. So yeah, like I said, today is a recreation. So something I've mentioned in other recreations is that some of the recreations are easier to do than others, just based off of the style of the actual movie and the style of the furnishing in the movie, just based off of what's in the game, So this one I had a little bit of trouble with, just that the way that the diner looks, sorry, the grill, not the diner, I guess. But the way that the grill looks in the movie doesn't necessarily translate to the way the game works. So, most notably, if you look up Hawthorne Grill, there's a really famous, sign, because it's a real place in LA. I think it's closed since the movie, but it at one point was a real place. And the way that the roof is and in the exterior, it's not really something that you can, completely copy in the game. It doesn't work like that, it doesn't mesh. So I kind of had to just do the best that I could and whatever. And then the second thing, or I guess the second and third things that I had trouble with when converting this into the game was there's kind of I don't think it's actually cabinetry. It's a decorative thing above the counter in the diner. It has this weird, almost tribal pattern to it. I'll show screenshots of the movie at the end, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's just a very odd looking thing. I don't necessarily know what it is, and that was kind of really difficult to fit into this because there's no object like that in the game. So I first initially tried to do a oh my gosh, not a banister, but the thing that goes between columns. I can't think of the word right now, but I tried to use that one from the Island Living pack, and it just kind of wasn't really working out and whatnot. So eventually I ended up using some of the detailing from what's it called, the Jungle World, and I kind of just, you know, used Control 9 and I pulled it up so that it was like on the ceiling. And it's not perfect, of course, because the game just doesn't have that item in it, but I feel like that was kind of the best that I could do, if that makes sense. And then I also added 2 things into this that weren't in the original game, or sorry, weren't in the original diner, just because functionality-wise you kind of have to do it, you know. So number 1 is a kitchen. From my memory and from what I was researching and stuff, there is no kit. You don't go into the kitchen in the movie. And so I kind of just did what I either have experienced when I was working in a restaurant or what I imagined that this diner's kitchen would look like. It's not that fancy or exciting or anything like that, but it just, you know, I did my best. And then I also added, because there's a diagonal wall for this diner, it ends up taking a lot of like wide space, like a lot of squares, you know, but it's not very like long, if that makes sense. So I think this is a 40 by 30 lot, and it looked kind of silly to not have anything in the back there, because it is kind of very rectangular shape. So I actually added like a little parking lot in the back, because most places have parking lots that you can park in. The only thing that is kind of unrealistic though is that if you've ever been in certain parts of LA, there would not be a parking lot with that many spots available to go to a diner. That's like super unrealistic. Half the time when you go to a restaurant or anywhere in LA, there's like maybe 1 spot for street parking and someone's already parked in it, and then you have to walk like a mile to get there, and that's just what it is. So yeah, that's definitely a little bit unrealistic. But the other thing that's a little bit weird about this specific build is that, like, yes, this diner I feel like is kind of iconic in the sense that like the whole scene that happens in it, but if you look at the actual amount of time that they spend in the diner, like you know, minutes wise, it's like 5 minutes, and it's like 2 scenes, you know, so it's really not a lot of time that they spend there. So you really don't get to see a lot of the diner in the actual movie. So I kind of had to take like creative freedom, I guess, with a lot of it, just because they just literally don't show you most of it. So I kind of had to just imagine what it would look like and do some research online as well. And then the other thing is that at the very end, I like to try to show like pictures of the like thing that I'm trying to recreate and then what I've done, you know, so that you can kind of see the difference. But I unfortunately don't have the Pulp Fiction movie just like to play, you know, so I kind of had to just look up, you know, clips of this scene on YouTube and screenshot it from there. So some of the pictures are a little bit fuzzy. It's also a bit of an old movie, so I think that's part of it, but just, you know, bear in mind that. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, this is a really short video, which is kind of weird, so I gotta try to like fit everything in that I wanted to say. So the last thing that I have to talk about is I had done a Rocky Horror Picture Show recreation like years ago, I think, and I mentioned how Tim Curry has that really like infectious personality about him when he acts, and that you really notice him, and he's just a really great performer and whatnot. And I kind of feel the same about John Travolta, who obviously is in this movie. He plays Vincent Vega, and especially that scene when he's dancing. It's become like a meme now, so it is kind of silly. But the meme where he's dancing in the restaurant that has like the really expensive shakes, where they have like the cars inside and whatnot, when they do it's like a twist or a sock hop or something. It's crazy because it's intended to be silly, but his dance there, like if you actually really watch it, he's actually like super talented. So I just wanted to say that because I feel like he kind of has that really similar just like crazy talent, and he just like makes you look at him. So anyway, the video's ending, so I don't want to like keep talking, of course. But yeah, please let me know if you have any suggestions about things that you want me to recreate. I'd love to hear them, and maybe I could even do them if that's a possibility. And so thank you for watching, and I hope you come back next time.